Fans cried over this heartbreaking news. At 50, Ben Shephard stands as one of British television's most enduring and beloved figures. A man who has graced our screens for decades, whether waking us up with warmth and charm on GMTV, testing the nerves of contestants on Tipping Point, or holding his own alongside the best on Good Morning Britain. For years, Ben has been admired for his easygoing nature, quick wit, and rare ability to balance professionalism with genuine human connection. But behind the smile, charisma, and countless hours of live television, Ben has recently faced something far more serious, a private battle that no amount of fame, fortune, or adoration could shield him from. When news quietly emerged that Ben Shephard had been struggling with serious health concerns, fans across the nation were left in shock. For a man who has spent much of his career keeping his private life private, this revelation didn't just raise concern, it raised questions. What had his wife, Annie Shephard, endured in silence? And most importantly, why reveal this now? Annie Shephard, the anchor in the storm. To truly understand Ben's story, one must first understand Annie. Unlike many partners of television stars, Annie Shephard has always remained largely outside the public spotlight. A devoted wife and mother, Annie has carried herself with quiet dignity and remarkable strength. Insiders close to the Shephards reveal that Annie carried much of the emotional weight of Ben's health struggles in private. While Ben continued to show up on screen, flashing that trademark smile and lifting the spirits of millions, Annie was his anchor at home. She shielded their children from fear, encouraged Ben to seek the best possible treatment, and created an environment of calm even when the future seemed uncertain. It's easy to forget that behind every household name is a family, and Annie's role in this chapter of Ben's life cannot be overstated. Imagine for a moment juggling motherhood, managing a household, and being the silent support system of a man whose face beams into millions of homes every day while also shouldering the private fear of potentially losing him. That dual burden showed a side of Annie the public rarely sees, not just her love and loyalty, but her vulnerability, her devotion. One of the most puzzling aspects of Ben's revelation is why now. For years, those closest to him say he chose to keep matters private. Like many men of his generation, Ben preferred not to burden others with his struggles. His natural instinct was to downplay his illness, to smile through the pain, and to convince both himself and those around him that everything would be fine. But illness changes everything. It strips away control. It forces humility. It demands honesty, not just with family, but also with the millions who have supported him throughout his career. Sources close to Ben suggest he reached a point where he realized sharing his story wasn't simply about letting the truth out. It was about helping others, those silently fighting similar battles, those ignoring symptoms, those afraid to speak out. By lifting the veil, Ben transformed his pain into purpose. Marriage tested in silence. Marriage, even under ordinary circumstances, comes with challenges. But when one partner faces a health crisis, those challenges intensify in unimaginable ways. Friends of the couple describe moments of tension, nights when Annie's fear for Ben's future collided with his instinct to brush it all off. Yet in those moments of vulnerability, something else emerged, a deeper bond. Sources say Ben has often credited Annie with keeping him strong. Even in his darkest moments, she became his advocate, his confidant, and his greatest supporter. Together, they navigated late-night hospital visits. They whispered prayers when uncertainty loomed. They faced conversations no family ever wants to have. But through it all, one truth became clear. Their marriage was not weakened by the storm. It was strengthened. When Ben's revelation finally became public, the response was overwhelming. Fans who had grown up watching him on GMTV, who tuned into Tipping Point every afternoon, who trusted him to guide them through the often chaotic mornings of Good Morning Britain, all felt a deep, personal connection. Social media flooded with words of encouragement. Letters poured in. Stories of personal battles with illness were shared. For many, Ben's openness made him more relatable than ever before. Behind the polished studio lights and charming television presence, he too was human, facing the same fears, anxieties, and battles that millions endure every single day. That connection sparked a ripple effect. Charities reported spikes in donations. Cancer awareness campaigns gained momentum, and countless people booked medical checkups after hearing his story. Sometimes it takes a familiar face to remind us all of life's fragility and the importance of vigilance, empathy, and resilience. While much of the public spotlight has rightly focused on Ben, those close to the Shephard family insist that Annie's role in this chapter must never be forgotten. Balancing her own work, motherhood, and her husband's health crisis required sacrifices that only those within the family can fully understand. In public, Annie appeared composed and graceful, but behind closed doors, she carried the weight of her husband's struggles while ensuring their children's lives remained as unaffected as possible. That quiet dignity is something friends say has defined Annie for years. She is not the type to seek recognition, but those who know her best say her strength was and remains the pillar that allowed Ben to keep going. As the dust begins to settle, attention naturally turns to the future. Ben Shephard has always been a man with boundless energy, juggling multiple shows, projects, and commitments. But health battles have a way of reshaping priorities. Sources reveal that Ben has begun to reconsider the pace of his career. No longer chasing every opportunity, he is choosing instead to dedicate more time to family, health, and projects that carry personal meaning. This doesn't mean the end of his television journey, far from it. But it does mark a new chapter, one focused less on the hustle and more on balance. For fans, this may mean seeing a more reflective Ben. A man not just entertaining the nation, but inspiring it. When we think of legacies, we often think of professional achievements. For Ben, those are plentiful. He has hosted some of Britain's most popular shows. He has won the affection of audiences across generations. He has built a career most broadcasters can only dream of. But perhaps his greatest legacy will not be the hours of television, but the story of resilience, love, and courage that he and Annie share. In the face of illness, they showed us what true partnership looks like. In the face of fear, they chose love. In the face of uncertainty, they chose hope. Ben Shephard's journey is not just the story of a television presenter. It is the story of a man forced to confront his own vulnerability and of a woman whose quiet strength carried them both through the storm. It is a story that reminds us all, no matter who we are, no matter how polished our lives may appear, we are all human. We all face battles, and we all need someone to lean on.